Hello and welcome to the Understanding Narcissists YouTube channel. This video is going to be about an emotional, amalgam, which is narcissists' kind of expression of love and hate. And this is really interesting because I think in kind of a poetic sense, we kind of regard love and hate as they can be sides of the same coin. And what fascinates me is narcissists have kind of a love-hate relationship with everything. One thing I really want to point out, though, that's a stark, that's kind of jump out at you, and you did say this initially, is that narcissists don't love anything. They're not really capable of love. They don't love themselves. They don't love you. They don't love anything. And their relationship with the concept of love. Of course, they have to have one because they have to be able to throw love onto things. Because if, say, they love this, of course they love their family, they love you. But they don't, but they have to. Because if you don't, people who don't love anything, lacking empathy, not a good social position to take in the world. Not going to be very popular if everybody knows that you actually don't care about anyone or anything except yourself. Now, that's a special note I want to make there, because narcissists don't love themselves either. They also have I believe they have some kind of self-hatred going on, but that's probably a deeper subject I'll go into later. But the love and hate relationship is fascinating because it does, once again, harken back to them being children, or more specifically, really babies. I say children, but they're more like babies, because children can run around and do things, and as they get older, they become more autonomous. Narcissists are more like crying babies, and if you don't, that's kind of how they feel, and if you don't come to take care of them, then they begin to hate you. It's really that simple, because they can't fend for themselves, they can't do anything. That's really how I think their experience is day to day. And they can just get by if they have people to support them. And if there aren't people there to support them, they can rely upon the enablers, the enabling bunch, the class that we are. Then they're dead in the water. They can't do anything, and they need that position to be filled. Otherwise, they're totally out of sorts, no control, unable to function, or worse, they can become dangerous. So, getting back to love and hate, there is definitely a duality there, because they have to rely upon you. That makes them hate you, and they hate their dependency on you, but they can't accept it as dependency, so there has to be something else that's wrong. Those are all the reasons, the superficial stuff you see cropping up, the things that are wrong with you. You're messy, you're not well organized, you're not planned, you don't have a good you're not on a good track in life, your career, whatever it is. It's the superficial stuff. You're somehow incompetent, and that can be traced down to there's just something wrong with your character. They're trying to make you feel miserable, make you feel bad about yourself. This is where it gets complicated, but I think you will be on board with me as far as this description. And as far as this description goes, that they love to hate. That is their love. Their relationship has to be one based on a reviling of everything you do and are. It's this constant conflict. They live in that battle. They live in that state. I'm guessing they grew up in it. It's not just a wild guess. I won't say it's a really well-educated guess, but it's one that I think is probably correct. That's the only explanation I've ever had, is that they're in this environment where it's really a love to hate. And everybody hates each other and professes that they actually love each other. That's why if you see a narcissist, again, trying to gain control of a big family, that kind of thing, what do they want? They love everybody. They're just trying to get everybody together. The fact that they emotionally torture them, that kind of gets passed over. And if it is, well, they don't know any better. They don't know what they're doing. They just care so much. That's always the explanation. They just care too much. That's the kind of emotional narrative you will get. That's how it's everybody. Well, of course it's not because they're bad or they're trying to manipulate people. They're trying to cause harm. It can't possibly be that. That contradiction, that conflict, they live in that. They believe it. I'm not sure to what extent. I think they really do believe that they're good people most of the time, and they're terrified of what they actually are. It scares them to look in the mirror figuratively, what they're actually capable of, which is really some horrendous stuff. That the good people they try to be, they wouldn't be able to do it if they were good people. But this love and hate relationship, they have to be in a constant state of agitation just to be comfortable. Now that sounds really contradictory. It's like a paradox of some kind. Why? How could they possibly, in order to be stable, it has to be unstable all the time and chaotic? They generate these problems. They generate this chaos is really what it is. And it's in their own lives, probably day to day. They more like to create problems amongst people and then move in to fix them. They like to generate the issues, the personal insecurities and all that stuff, and then get people to squabble amongst each other and have a problem. And the narcissist can kind of dance around that and kind of derive pleasure and joy and insecurity from it. Now, you can tell me why they enjoy it so much, because I don't really know. I can only emulate and attempt to explain, on a few principles that I think apply, explain their behavior, why they enjoy it so much, why they enjoy hurting people in creating chaos. But I don't really know why. But I just see it again and again. And breeding that chaos is so important. It must be the first thing they learn how to do. You look for the chaotic environment. You look for how they pinpoint the insecurities in you, the things that you're already scared of, and they magnify them. They bring them to surface. They poke, inflame them, salt the wound before they attempt to cure it. Of course, they never actually fix anything, but the explanation is that they're always trying to fix something. And everything they act, they're always trying to help somebody, but they're just stirring the pot. They're just making everything worse. It's just heating up and making it boil, making it worse to get everybody to react how they want. That doesn't mean that on some occasions there can't be some stability. Within the abuse cycle, there has to be, the ups and downs over months and years, usually really week to week or even day to day. It can change in a heartbeat depending on what really bothers them that day. But within the abuse cycle, there are periods of stability. They're kind of interim, they're kind of brief, but it's not something, again, you're not in a healthy environment, but it's really that you're not being totally torn apart in that moment and they're not coming after you. I suspect you usually see that when you have a successful kind of abusive event where they feel like they're in control and it kind of actualizes everything for them, and they feel like they have a sufficient grasp on everything within that moment. Because here's another thing. They don't really want to overdo it. You don't want to overdo the love and hate either. Because then you're going to start getting worried. If they're always an actor on the stage and they're always doing stuff in front of everybody, then they're going to start get worried and anxious that there is something wrong with them. So they have to kind of stand down for a moment, and not be the major player. Of course, they always are, but they don't always want it to look that way because it's very suspicious. They've got to have something where it looks like they're just an ordinary person going throughout their day-to-day life. But that inner conflict is always there. It is. That's the only way I can describe it, as breeding chaos. That's really what it's like, just generating it all the time. It's always emanating from them. The emotional discord and all those problems that have to get out some way in a very, it's not even roundabout. It's really, I think the word is torturous. Or contorted. I like contorted somewhat, but even that's not a vicious enough term to describe what it really is that they're doing. So I don't want this video to go off too long. I hope that wasn't too vague. I thought I had something more concrete when I started, but I'm like, I'm kind of going off. But anyway, I hope you find it useful. Like it if you do. Share it with somebody you think might benefit from it. Comment in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.